latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you guys a bit of a review video on a brand new product from Outdoor Revolution. So with me here, I have got the Outdoor Rev Movelite T4E. So the T4E is basically kind of a polyester of what was newly launched for 21, which is T4E PC. So it replaces the normal T4 and we've got a load of new features built into it. It makes it almost a lot more versatile. And like I said, it almost matches the poly cotton version. So you can get this in the poly cotton or the polyester, which I've got with me here. What I've kind of done is chuck nearly every single extra on it, just to kind of show you really kind of what options you've really got. And obviously you can buy them additionally as you see fit. So you can really make it suitable for yourself and how you're intending on using it. So we'll start with the main thing. Basically, it's kind of a driveway awning, available in 3 different heights. So it's available in a low, mid and a high. The low does 180 to 220, the mid does 220 to 255, and the high does 255 to 305. So you've got a real range of different sizes there. You can attach it on in kind of a few different ways. First being it's got double-sided beading on it, so you can go directly into a kind of a C rail, or if you want to go direct into a wind-up, you can do. By going directly into it, you basically lose the ability of driving away with a lot of ease. So I would recommend a fixing kit of some sort if you're going into rail. There's also a sleeve, which we'll come around to later on, which you can put a pole into and clamp it into a gutter. You can use just basically guide points that are included to throw over the top of the van and pull that kind of nice and tight up to it. Admittedly, if you go into a higher vehicle, they're probably not long enough to go over the top, so some extensions would be required. Or failing that, you could almost just kind of use the guide points to tie it onto like a roof bar rack. So there's a few options to go for. Really nice sort of design. It uses kind of Outdoor Rev's 240 HD fabrics. It's around about a 150 denier, 4000 mil hydrostatic head, so nice and waterproof as well. It's really quite versatile, like I said, in the ability that, unlike a lot of the others on the market, I'm thinking more like the Galley or the Touring, you actually have the ability to enclose the front of it. So as you see it here, what I've got is the main body of the awning here. You've got a kind of open canopy front, and then you've got a porch door and an additional sun canopy, and on the back we've got the annex. So lots of different extras you can to make it bigger and give more usable space. You've got this beautiful kind of crystal clear windows, but they're also tinted as well. So from the outside looking in, you really sort of see shapes and no detail, so you get that extra level of privacy. But pretty much everywhere you've got curtains again to give you that sort of proper privacy as and when you see fit. Pitching wise, it's nice and quick and easy to do. You can see our own Attwoolls pitching video. We've done this very particular model. Took me no longer, I think, 11 minutes to pitch, and then obviously the extras on top of that. But it means that the main body certainly is really great to go away for short weekends as well as long weeks, and you can actually more than happily accommodate extra people inside of the awning due to kind of the sheer space. So there's an extra 2-berth and 4-berth bedroom you can buy if you don't want to go down lines of the annex itself. Other things to mention, we've obviously got roof windows as well, so add a bit of a light in addition to the privacy. And we'll kind of work our way almost from the front towards the back. So we've got the additional sun canopy, which you can put onto the main awning, or you can actually buy additional kit that will connect this into a winder awning or into a C-rail. So that's sort of dual purpose. You can use it for the front of the awning. Alternatively, you can use it just on the van alone. One solid, nice sort of steel pole guides out very simply. The porch door concept's really quite nice. Gives you the ability to completely enclose the front. What it also does is you've got this kind of sort of, we'll call it a 70-30 door. So 30% you can open it up a little bit, have that as your main kind of access way. Failing that, completely open it up altogether. Again, tinted windows, but also privacy curtains built into that as well. What's also is worth making a note of is that when you kind of roll it back from left to right, you've got a full mesh door built in behind it. So that way you've got kind of a front barrier against the bugs. So even if you don't want to enclose yourself against the rain, you can also do that like so. And that sort of toggles back and ties back nice and neatly. That leaves you that sort of real front mesh door. And even in the mesh door itself, you've got, again, that 70-30 kind of split door. So we can kind of, again, open it up a bit more. So by rolling this back, what you're almost giving yourself now is kind of how it's going to look initially without the kind of porch door in place. Admittedly, it's going to be more of a straight finish because it kind of overlaps here and even clips on nice and neatly, as well as a thorough zip along the top. So they have really thought about kind of every sort of step of the way of making sure it's going to be neat and tidy when you kind of pack it away in a fixture that makes it feel part of the awning rather than an addition. And then we've gone into a really nice depth canopy, and we'll come into this section in just a moment. It's worth also mentioning that in kind of the awning itself, you've got a ground sheet supply for the front section, and when you buy the sort of porch door, it covers and overlaps and kind of velcros to it a bit, which necessarily means that this whole front section can be really kind of sealed up nice and neatly. In fact, let's have a little bit of a flip around the actual sort of awning on its own, just to give you a bit more of an idea of what it looks like when you haven't got any of the extras on it. So that's kind of what it looks like. From a pitching point of view, like I said, it's very easy to pitch. Each beam's done individually. So you've got its own individual valve located there, and it's actually got its own pressure release valve. So they offer a lifetime warranty on the beams itself. That's the lifetime of the product, necessarily the person. And if you have any general issues, the joys of it, every beam is the same. If you want to be for peace of mind, you can always buy an additional tube if you see fit. And it's got its own, like I say, pressure release valve. So when it gets to the right pressure, it'll actually let a little bit of air out, and that's kind of your knowledge, really, of saying, right, I'm at the right pressure, leave me alone. Essentially, if you get any temperature change, the pressure may increase a little bit, about 10% per temperature degrees increase, and it will let that pressure out. So again, it's a design feature that's pretty much in kind of most of Outdoor Rev's sort of top-end models, just as an extra safety feature, which again is unique pretty much to them. No one else really kind of does it. We've got a side door built onto the actual awning itself. So again, you've got a window, but again, it allows you to open it up, have a nice big mesh door in here. But also what you find actually, it allows you to, unlike particularly probably like the model of the galley model, you can enter and exit through this part without going from the front door. So for a hypothetically, say we'll enclose the front with the porch door, we can almost come in here and you have almost like a room to your left, a room to your right, so it works really quite smartly. But I'll tell you what, let's have a little bit more of a look inside the T4E and talk through a lot more of the features that it has to offer. So now we've kind of changed the camera angle, you can kind of get a bit more of a feel for certainly the depth in the canopy here, and we'll kind of work our way back through the awning, talking through the points as we kind of go. So the actual awning itself was kind of finished here, then that's the part of the front porch door. Now, the front of the actual awning itself kind of mirrors that porch door, where you've got kind of 70-30 kind of section. So you can obviously bring it back, obviously 30% or 70% to kind of allow you to have a bit of gangway. And because they kind of marry up, typically this could probably be somewhere probably you're going to put maybe your stove or kind of your wet area before you necessarily use that as your main kind of corridor into the actual awning itself. You've got crystal clear windows each side, and when you buy the porch door, you get additional kind of toggling curtains that kind of cover that section up as well. The main front door, as same with the canopy door, you can actually got its little retainer clips here to kind of keep the zip in place. You can zip that back. Again, it kind of zips back from left to right. You can then essentially open that up fully, roll that back, and you've still got that secondary mesh door behind. So in theory, what you kind of do is have two mesh doors in place if you bought a porch door, which kind of gives you that sort of double barrier against the bugs as you see fit. I've been an absolute hash of that. Come on. Fold it over too many times, I think. It still takes it. So again, we can obviously open this mesh door fully open. It zips down, as you can see. So we can, and it's got a zip along the bottom as well. So it's a very thorough way of doing it. I'll just lob that in the corner for the time being. So then we've almost got no real lip necessarily in and out of the front section, which is quite crucial. So it means pushchairs, pram chairs, wheelchairs even can come and go, dogs, kids not tripping over it. So that's a really nice little bit. Now we've kind of done that, opens up the awning a bit more, and you can kind of get a bit more of a feel for it. So as you see it in place, I've got the annex at the back. Now, essentially what you're going to see is that generally there would be normally a panel here, and we've got again a separate kind of thing with the panel in place, which you can always check out. But that is going to be your main kind of awning here. So not many people probably go for the annex. Admittedly, it's a nice option extra if you want to sleep additional people without sort of, you know, compromising your main living space. But you can buy a 2-berth bedroom that would necessarily sit just directly in here, or a 4-berth bedroom that would sit across here, and then this suddenly would then be your main kind of living area, which means that certainly when you're at the porch door, you kind of keep that main sort of living section. It just moves from kind of here to there across the 2 zones. In here, as we said, we've got zip curtains in the main body, so you can get a level of privacy as you when you want to, and that sky windows remain kind of open regardless of the curtains, just because it allows a little bit of light into, but no one's really looking up directly above. You've got a hanging point for a lantern, as well as little Velcro tabs, leading you down to kind of a cable entry point down this side down here. Like I said, in a bit I'll bring the camera directly in. Other things to mention is you can buy additional kind of bracing poles you want to go in the main body. So you've got a little section there just to kind of push those apart and give a bit more structure if you see fit. Other things to mention is the fact that you've got almost like a double entry section into the van itself. So the van, as we see it here, I've kind of got a setup that I'm mimicking kind of the sliding door. So we can pull that door back, and then again we've got that flow directly into the van itself. We've got a secondary door located here, so if we wanted to make it more of an open space, we can unzip that, and then it would almost means we compromise the kind of storage section that we've got tucked away behind here. We've got a really nice big mesh part here located, and again, the door entrance to and from the main van can toggle down or toggle up, so you can get that kind of security and get a barrier against kind of the weather. Alternatively, that sort of trip hazard free directly sort of smooth us into it. Other things you can look at as well is you've got a ability to add kind of the oxygen storage pockets, so those can go onto kind of the main beam. I believe it's at the front, the main beam at the front. Yeah, so you can go onto there. So there's ability of giving yourself storage without having to have a physical larder or a cupboard in the actual awning itself. If we open this section kind of up, just to kind of give you a bit more of an idea, you've got a zipper on the bottom, again, which is really quite nice and thorough. And then we can open that fully up. And then it really creates a nice open space and brings the van very much kind of into the main section. Back down. Time being. So as I said, makes it feel very spacious, and in fact, let's bring the camera in and probably go through things a bit more easier. So as we kind of come in, you can see it feels very big in this point just because we've got so many extras. But when you haven't got the annex in place, admittedly, it is a bit more smaller. You're not actually almost going any further away from the van. You're just utilising the space along the van a bit more. But now we kind of open that section, we can see we've got tunnel doors in both sections of the actual deck. So if you want to go out the front without going through any awning, you can do that, and also through the back. Now, you've got an ability adjustment system, so we can actually toggle it up, sort of strap it up there depending on what the height you're on. And also you've got a secondary one located here as well, to make things a lot easier. Like I said, we've got a dual beading which are located on there. I've gone directly into the rail in that sense. But you can see how kind of nice and neatly it fits against the van. And you can kind of go into the van as you see fit. You've got this sort of slightly higher tunnel as well. It's going to help sort of get the drainage away from the top a bit better. And then the kind of the sewn in ground sheet works really smartly. Windows at the top, like I said, and then I've got a mesh door next to the curtain and mesh window. Sorry, normal window. Below the window itself, you've got a ventilation panel as well to help with the circulation of air. And we've got a 2-berth annex additionally in place. And we've got a rear vent across the top. And then the clips located there for the additional bedrooms if you want to have it kind of more in-house. But as we kind of come back out through it all, you can see kind of how deep the awning kind of feels with the additional annex, which admittedly is a bit more excessive, but is a nice thing to necessarily have as an option. And then that's kind of looking at how smartly it fits next to the van. And then the additional bits of sleeve guide points over the top that you can get for it as well. As we kind of come out of it, and a bit more of a feel around it, it does make it quite certainly bigger when you've got the extras onto it, but it means that if you're going away for a shorter spell, you can just take the main awning. If you want to enclose it or add the extra canopy onto, you can obviously do that then. And then when we've got the annex right at the back for that extra bit of storage, if you see we've got a poled annex as well, so it's obviously a bit more price orientated than probably the Air one was for 21, but you can see how nice and neatly it sits. And to be fair, when you've got kind of your doors open at the back, it's probably not coming out too far further than that point. And it's worth mentioning that certainly the polyester annex will fit the polycotton annex if you're a bit more price conscious, but it won't necessarily match the fabric and look a bit different, to say the least. But I think it sits really nicely. It looks really sharp, and I think for me, I love about this is more the flexibility. The flexibility that you can kind of make it when you want it to. If you wanted this for just living area, it's a living area. You want to accommodate 2 people, you buy a 2-berth bedroom. 4-berth bedroom if you want to. If you still want the 2-berth and space, then you've got this with the additional annex. On top of that, then you can enclose the front, have it as a wet zone. So there's lots and lots of functionality. And also, the joys of this as well is that if you like this design, but you want a slightly smaller main body, you can drop down to the T3. So T3 is exactly the same, just you've almost lose one bay. So the front stays the same. It's almost that slipe becomes here. So it's a little bit of smaller footprint. And you still got the same functionality with the annexes, the front door, the sun canopy and so forth. So it might be worth having a look at that video as well. For more information, you can check the link below this video, which will take you straight through to our website. We've got all the prices of the T4E, as well as other little things like the package deals we kind of do. Obviously the other little, we've got separate pitching videos of the actual things like the annex, the canopy, the porch door, to kind of really kind of make it a bit easier to know what you're sort of getting yourself into. But overall, I think it's a really nice model, something that offers something a little bit different we don't see from other brands. And on the whole, I think it ticks a lot of boxes. And for me, it would almost be, from a spec, if you're one thing you want to spec, I think it ticks the most boxes for me in comparison to a lot of the other models on the market. So overall, I think Outdoor Rev have done a really nice job. So that is kind of our video review on the brand new Outdoor Rev T4E for the 22 season and going forward.